Oh, recording in progress. What does that mean? That means trouble. Which starts with T and rhymes with P and stands for pool. In River City. So we've officially entered our social time before the meeting. So maybe we should take a moment to go around the room and introduce ourselves, since some of us don't know who each other is, or are, maybe that's the better term. So if you don't know me, raise your hand. Tom, Ashley. My name is John Larson. I am the president of the Omaha Astronomical Society. This right here is my wife, Kelly. Not going to stand up now. She is. Hey now. I'm not the one you have to worry about. He said. Okay, I'll start here. We go around the room that way. How's that sound? If you feel like you can stand, you can sit.
Hi, I'm Ashley. It's my first time meeting you guys, so hi. Nice to meet you all. I'm sure I'll get there eventually. So, live in Vista. Just not I'm totally new to me at astronomical stuff, kind of the basics. People.
It's you.
I'm John Poole. Our first meeting in person. So we kind of jumped in this meeting previously. But we're also newbies. We've been doing this since February. Oh.
I'm Diana Evans. I'm the secretary of this wonderful organization. We put all the problems that they got meeting minutes on me. Like everybody else, I've been attending the Zoom meetings. It was the first drill meeting face to face in what seems like a very long time.
Hi, I'm Dean Fife. I'm relatively new to January. So, new with this, so my parents. Also new. Where did I? New wife or new parent? So, for all these schools, I did go to Sun last week or so. I had a couple years here. It was fun. Good time. I learned a lot.
Oh, you already know who I am. I'm Michael Lee. I've been in the club for about 5 years, and back in the 80s, I was in the club many years. And I have to admit, I was talking to Louis many years ago when we had our club site in Gretna. It was actually a building. We had some kind of party, and I think I might have been program director at that time. I suggested I play music at it. Well, I was talking to Louis, and he was up at the part of NSP, and I was there. I said, I have a real stupid idea. What if we play music at this? He goes, oh, that's a good idea. And it's like, yes, it came through, and I'm going, no. But anyway, if we ever want to do it again, I'll be better next time. So, thank you.
I'm Mark Bola. Great to see everybody in person again. And yeah, I've been in club now for the last 10 years, I think. Before that, I was just like Millennium. I was in our little back in the 80s. So, you see everybody. Yeah. I've been here. I've been a coach for a little over a year now. This is my first meeting. Weird. I've
been on those Zoom meetings, I learned just what the rest of the planners.
I'm Mike Gallagher, I'm the co-treasurer, and I've been a member for a year or two, maybe, since I was counted in 1986.
Mike Morrison, my wife Carmen. We've been very there. So for college, I've worked for probably 20 years now. My wife, you'll hear more from me later when I go to school.
I'm Sonali, I'm the observing chair, I've been a member for 3 years. Happy to be here always.
Hello, I'm Kevin McCormick. My wife Susan stepped here just like me. We've been a member for about 10 years with the club, so we went out for a few star parties out there at Fiasco, you know, about time, very nice out there. Nice group of people, so looking forward to trying to get together again. Yeah, great.
I'm Julie Bledsoe. I'll
Cool,
go
go
ahead. I'm Julie Bledsoe, and this is our place. This is Jordan, my daughter, and my place. So we went to Charlton. We really do want to have that again because we do enjoy having people out here to enjoy this space. We were with the Omaha Travel Club for a few years. We took a couple years sabbatical, a couple more years, and then now we're back. Jordan's going to get more involved in public food.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey everyone, I'm Jordan. That person is my mom. Thank you for coming out tonight. We're super excited when you guys agreed to doing the next event out here, and I'm excited. I hope we can do more. I guess I'm the new program chair, and I'm really looking forward to that. And already I have a huge list of really cool, fun, extraordinary, extra solar, outer space, topics. So if you have ideas, I will be throwing around this little clipboard later. I'd love to hear from all of you. And make it fun. So, thanks, and I hope to meet all of you.
My name is Carol, and the members probably for which one? And we're on the NSP.
I'm Nina Baker, and we've been members, my husband Clete and I have been members, oh gosh, since 2003, 2004, something like that. We like to come to things, we'd like to meet people, love this group of folks, whether it's here or out at NSP or anywhere. It's always good people. So we're glad to be meeting and seeing real faces. That's just amazing. So,
Looks like a bunch of misfits.
thank you.
I'm Andrew Devin, I'm one of 2 outreach co-chairmen. I think Mike has got me on a couple of years, but I think I've been in the club for many Mike. Mike Gallagher, you got me by a couple of years in age, but Mike, how long?
Well, since about 78, 79.
Yeah, I came back in 81.
Yeah.
But it's been a fixture of the club every day.
Do you
This is my
remember,
wife, Robin.
do you remember the place at Gretna? by any chance?
I don't recall ever going out.
It's funny, I don't know anybody here that was this kind of guy named.
I remember Hallie's comment. Yeah, this is my wife, Robin. She puts up with me and my stuff and my questions. And I'm also on ESP, I'm the director of outreach and promotion.
Oh, actually, Eric, before you say that, anybody that's new, I don't know if you're familiar with NSP is, it's the Nebraska Star Party. That was just last week, so anybody that was new, that's what we're referring to. Thank you.
here. I moved here about 20 years ago. And before I moved, Dad was giving us some inheritance money, and so I bought a nice telescope. It's 8-inch Smithcastle. And I decided when I moved here that I was going to join the club. So I've been a member here since, I think, the beginning of 2019.
He doesn't really good telescope.
He's got a solid mark.
I leave to your fortune.
Folks, I'm Dennis Yeager, I've been a member here since very new to astronomy, Steve going college. Very nervous to come here because I'm so new. I was afraid I was gonna run into a bunch of people. You guys are awesome. I learned so much every meeting. It's a lot of fun.
Sherry Cleverett, new member, in my husband Dave, we just within a month, we joined, so it's pretty much about this, so glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's get Steve before we get our Steve.
John, kind of introduced me. I'm Steve Skinner. I helped John reach out. It's been only reach recently. We hope that we can get back to having some star parties and enjoy each other's company and company of young people as well. So that's my interest. I'm a retired school teacher, and that probably explains why I'm interested in outreach.
I'm Bill Bond. I've been in the club for about 25, 26 years. And I am really glad to not be an officer or in this club anymore. John is doing a great job as president, and the happiest person about that is me. I'm Don Wilson, been here 15 years. I started going to the Star Party. I seen a thing in 2004 about it. I'm like, I'm going next year, and my truck said, no, you're not. So I bought a new vehicle and went the year after, and I figured after going to the Star Party a couple times, I'm gonna join. So I started up, been doing this probably about 25 years and still don't know anything. So you never gonna learn, you just gotta keep learning.
Kim Lawson, this is my husband Doug now. For years, it was our date night. We had a babysitter for the kids and we came and enjoyed our hangout about ourselves, you know, around adults talking about something really cool. That's it, about 15 years. I'm Rita Livingston, this is my husband Chuck. It drives me everywhere. Been a member for a long time and used to know a lot, but I forgot it all and I feel like I need to start over, so I feel like I'm leaving. So don't ask me anything, ask you. Somebody else. Really glad to be here.
Great, thank you. Oh, we still got 10 minutes.
See,
The social time.
Are you ready to get a piece of cake?
Yeah. Cake, cupcake.
John.
for me, it's like,
Okie dokie. It's real wood. It's plastic. I like talking to you. Good evening. It's like I've got a microphone and I know how to use it. Welcome to the August Omaha Astronomical Society meeting, delayed 1 week to August 14th, 2021. For those who are in Zoom, you probably heard all this before. If you do not want to be seen, you can mute your video, which I believe we have. And mute your microphone, got that too. We're all pretty good at Zoom now. We've been in this for more than a year. Do we have any guests with us tonight? I think it's all members. How about on Zoom? Not easy to pull up things on the full screen. So we'll just say that we don't have any guests. Did we have anybody go to Astro Park in the past month? I would say yes. Show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 regulars. Thank you. How do things look down there?
Better after we got done with the workday.
Woohoo! And the sign's coming back at some point too. The sign on the gate fell off sometime and it disappeared. So luckily, if you knew where it was, you're okay. So we'll try to get that replaced. Observing chair, Sonali. Come on down. I haven't been able to use that joke because I've been at home.
I don't have slides this month, but Saturn and Jupiter are pretty obvious. The first is meteor showers, of course, when the skies are clear enough. And for those who are interested, there's a new nova in Ophiuchus, which is supposed to be visible to the naked eye, but I think it's binoculars now, it's magnitude is reading. And if anyone wants to see the star chart for that, I do have a couple. It's a little hard to find, because Ophiuchus is a little hard, one of the harder constellations to get your bearings within, because it's close to Scorpio and Sagittarius, but that's something to look up for. Those are the highlights for this month.
Thanks, Sonali. Outreach co-chairs. Who wants to talk? You want to flip a coin?
Should I come up first?
Sure, come on up.
Well, first of all, I apologize for not getting anything in the newsletter. It kind of snuck up on us, right?
Can you hear him or should I use the mic?
Most of us were at the.
Please use the microphone.
That's right.
Just stand behind the speaker right there.
Stand behind the speaker. As I was saying, apologize for not getting anything in the newsletter. Kind of snuck up on us. Most of us involved with the articles were up at the Star Party. Okay, I got one event that I definitely will need help for, and I'll get an email out if the weather cooperates, and that is a Lawrenson Star Party. We've done a couple of those already. You got that there? Okay. August 28th, Lawrenson Gardens, night skies with Jupiter and Saturn. That's always a fun time. They limit the number of public they invite to these, so it's only usually about 20 to 25 people, and we usually have 3 or 4 of us OAS members. It's always a very delightful evening if the weather cooperates. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention, Steve and I have been discussing this at great length. As you know, up until last year, we had been involved with the Papillion List 6th grader outreach, their outdoor education event, which had been held out at the 4-H camp or center south of Gretna for years and years. First of all, the pandemic hit last year and nothing happened, but on top of that, they closed that 4-H camp if you hadn't heard already. And so there was no place to meet if we'd even been out there. However, they have regrouped, and the powers that be in the Papillion Vista elementary districts have regrouped, and they're going to hold them at Camp Joy. Howling, is that how it's pronounced? Carol Joy Hall. Yeah, I like the camp. We've done events out there before. Yes. However, they are not going to have overnight, they're not keeping the kids overnight, they're gonna bus them out, like on a Monday, bus them back to town, go back out on Tuesday morning, you know, like the Monday, Tuesday, and then they'll be like on Wednesday, Thursday. The time slot they have given us to do something astronomy wise is from 7:15 to 8:30. Yeah. I've been trying to negotiate something with this Miss Ann Danner, who's been doing this for years and years. And we're kind of in an impasse. She's saying they can't stay any later. I was just talking to Steve a little bit earlier. I don't know what to say to you. If anybody has any really brilliant ideas, other than possibly maybe doing a little indoor program for them, I don't know what else we could really do. Because, you know, it's still daylight. It will be for at least another month at this time, but I'll leave it at that. If anybody's got any, instead of trying to open up a big discussion now, if anybody's got any other thoughts or ideas of what we can do, either see Steve or I, and we'll be more than happy to think about it, discuss it with you. That's about it, other than I guess we already had the Tuesday night event, right?
Yeah, it was a sweat.
It was a sweat box, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's hope this cool weather stays in.
Thank you, John. Does this work? It does, all right. Telescope and binocular low chair, Stafford.
I'm gonna do something tonight that I've been told never to do, which is to stare at the slide and talk to it, because I don't remember exactly what I submitted.
Hold it close.
Yeah,
I think it was these two, these changed,
oh,
the Dobb and the Schmidt.
yeah,
swap.
no. Yes, they are indeed checked out still, and the other change since then is the two 10-inch auxiliaries came back.
Oh.
One of them's going back out to 2:30 on Monday, so if you want the other, talk to me. And need to acknowledge a couple of donations that we had recently received. Aaron Peck, who is sitting over here somewhere, he donated a 7-amp power tank lithium battery to us, which will go nicely with a couple of the scopes that we have in the inventory. Mike Moderson gave us what they call Celestron Observers Kit, which is basically a couple of filters, some eyepieces, and a Barlow lens in a plastic case, which is pretty handy. They wouldn't grow feet and escape with the rest of them somewhere. So that's about it.
Jordan, program chair. Look at that. The slides got stuck.
Worked all day, like 2 hours on this, guys. First time doing this, so hopefully you can cut me some slack, but not gonna be the last. So tonight's presentation, John also had this idea, and I kind of thought it was a good thing as well. Since we just had the Nebraska Star Party, I thought it'd be really interesting to hear some stories and experiences, maybe a poem or so from those who had the chance to go up there. For those of you who were not able to make it because you may be new, this could be kind of a unique view into the Star Party beyond what we usually talk about. You go camping, you see the stars, there's a bunch of telescopes. For me, it's always the personal touch and the things that people really remember. So if your name happens to be up here, it's because I reached out to you and I heard back from you. If your name is not up here, but you still went up to the Star Party, or you went to the Star Park down south in Water and you had a really cool experience, you are more than welcome to come up here. So this is kind of just an open mic night. If you want to do some comedy too, you have a cool joke, go for it. But John, would you like to start us off with an experience that just, I guess, stuck with you? It doesn't have to be tremendous, but just something to share from the Star Party this year that, yeah.
I was up at the cabins, and we were having a nice discussion. We just had finished dinner. And then we noticed lightning outside. We thought, there might be a storm coming. And then we saw more lightning and more lightning. It's like, we should probably get back to camp and see how things are going. So not long after we got in the car and started driving back, this was Friday night. This was supposed to be the public night. Okay. As we're driving down the road back to the camp, we see all these cars passing us. I know Eric was one of them because I saw his trailer.
We saw you.
You did? Okay. Yeah, I was kind of like a white knuckle drive because I was like, I gotta get back down, gotta get back to camp. And we got there, and most of my bins had been blown over and had water in them. 2 corners of my canopy were still attached with Velcro, but I don't know, I might have to get a new one. There's a little bend in one of the struts. But then we saw a cleat scope, and it had blown over. There was a large daub on the hill up from his that didn't have a cover on the mirror, and it was totally open. So I don't know if the cover got blown off or if he set it up that way. He set it up that way? Okay. Because I saw that his stool was strapped to the truss, so it wasn't blowing around. But then we went for a walk to check on everybody. So my brother and Diana and I went for a walk around checking on people. And there was a couple of guys who were doing astrophotography far out in the generator area. One was from Wisconsin, and the one was from Minnesota. And they had one of their mounts blow over, one of their paramounts. Their field flattener took a hit as well as their guide scope. And the other person said, yeah, my scope kind of got moved too. And he says, it's in this tent. So I walked inside of his tent, and the first thing I noticed was 8 deep cycle batteries on one side of the tent. He says he never turns his scope off. It's always tracking even during the day. And it was big, very big. Like there were 2 counterweights that thick and about that big around. And the wind had moved it, so he was no longer tracking, and the end of the equatorial had punched a hole in the side of his tent. So also the canopy fell down, the activity tent. One side had fallen down, and we really didn't find anybody else that had any issues, I don't think. Most of the people, I think, had driven home that morning, so there wasn't a lot of people out on the field. So it's one of those moments where you sort of grab the flashlight and start going, let's check everybody, because you don't know when it's dark. And the tuning was great on Tuesday. That's another great memory. Not as like exciting mode and checking as the storm, but there have been a lot of storms up there. I've seen a lot of scopes blowing across the field in years past, as well as tents getting full of water with scopes in them. And if you're used to those Orion telescopes, those bases are a particle board. And when they get in water, they just suck up all that water, and they just start falling apart. So that's the harrowing story from the star party from my perspective. I have pictures, but they're all like a flashlight pointing at something in the middle of the night, so I don't know how exciting they are. So that's what I've got.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you said tubing, that's tubing down the river.
Yes.
Because there's that activity up at the Star Party. You said it was Tuesday,
Yep, highly recommend it.
so they do it on Tuesdays or some other
Well,
days?
we went on Tuesday.
You went on Tuesday, so you
Yeah.
went without the group. I think the group does it on Thursdays or Fridays. So you can join the group or you can go solo and risk the rapids that you makes you want. So, John Johnson, would you like to share anything?
The program, or we have other business stuff?
Well, yeah, we can.
It's just short, just like 2-3.
Yeah,
minute
I mean, we're essentially in the program at this point.
Okay,
This is the program.
Well, for me, like Jordan mentioned when she first started, it's the experience, it's the people. I brought all kinds of different equipment up there over the years. And by the way, I've been there more often than anybody else here. I know, I've only missed 3 of them. But it's just the getting back up there and meeting the people. It's become one big family. And a lot of the people this year, of course, we hadn't seen for 2 years. So to me, that's always the big highlight. And I'm not saying that, you know, seeing that clear skies is not a big highlight. I usually go up ahead of time, just so I have some private time for myself to try to do some white field astrophotography or just sit out there on that strip of asphalt and gaze up at the stars. It didn't really happen this year because the Friday night was a total wipeout, and with all the smoke, even Saturday wasn't the best. And then, of course, everybody starts riding. I guess one thing I took away was, I know several people, was I didn't realize how busy us members of the committee get. It's been 2 years. And, you know, last year when we were up there, it was just to be up there and have a good time. And I think once we start back up planning next year's, we gotta see if we can grab some more people and try to spread the load, because it gets a pretty hectic time there. I see Clayton and Eric, I'm sure agree with them too. So. But it is a lot of fun. It's a labor of love. I guess there was, I brought up this pair of binoculars I just picked up from Explore Scientific as far as an observing experience. Sunday night was the best. I was bouncing around looking at globulars in Ophiuchus of all places. I don't know if the Nova was firing up yet or not, but I saw some friends, I call them friends because I've looked at them all before. You know, the Messier objects, M10, M12, M14, M107, M9, M11. So it's always great to especially see them again in really dark skies. So that's enough for me.
Thank you.
Thank you. The Star Party is always just such a great party. It's a week long with friends. A lot of people stay a lot of different places. They can stay at hotels, beds and breakfasts. They can stay at the resort in the cabins right there. We've done a little bit of everything over the years, and we have found we like the tent. So we're in a camping spot, in a tent. Someday I need to get it all together. I took photos one year of, this is our bedroom, this is our, our kitchen, this is our dining table, which is at the picnic table. This is our living room, which are the fold-up chairs. I've got all that together, and then I have, this is why we come, and it's a great picture of the Milky Way. And I'll put that all together for folks sometime because I think it's kind of funny. We love our tent, and so it takes a lot of work. We do set up 2 campsites because we have a campsite where we sleep, and then we have our site up on the observing field where we have a cute little tent close to the ground that never moves, did it, John?
The tent was great.
That little tent just does not move at all. And we put our equipment in that. But Clete always leaves his scope up. It's tied down with this massive sand stake. And I thought it had come loose. And yet, no, I found out indeed it did not come loose, but it's on this really tight rubber bungee that he pulls it down to the ground from the center of the tripod down. And that thing apparently, somebody saw it go. So yeah, there it is. Nice picture. Somebody saw it go down and they said it was like slow motion. It just went with the wind, and then hopefully it didn't bounced too hard at the bottom. So damage, you can see here that it went on his observing chair, so this is bent. We think we can bend that back. Up in here.
Well, I got a closer
Do you
picture.
have a better picture?
From the next
of it?
day.
Oh, a day picture? Yeah, so right here, you see there's 1, 2, oops, this one's broken. So he's reordered this. A guy is 3D printing one. Woohoo. So we haven't gotten it yet. We're hoping the scope is fine, but the scope has been broken before. It broke in half. And we were able to get it put together last time, so we'll see how it goes. Probably the funny story, I think it's funny, I laugh at myself, okay? Was the first night we were there, because we get there Saturday late afternoon, then it's all hands on deck, get the tent up, get the sleeping bags in, blow up the air mattresses. I mean, there's just a lot of work, and it was hot. And we go up on the field and we do the same thing. Well, I was at Eric's scope, middle of the night, quite late, and a woman named Jocelyn was standing next to me. Now, the smoke that night, Saturday night, was so intense you could smell wood burning. It was just incredible, the smoke from the fires. And everybody was dealing with that. And I stepped up to look into Eric's scope. And then Jocelyn stepped up and looked in the scope. And she came back and she stood next to me and she goes, Nina, you smell like hot cocoa. I said, oh, thank you so much. I know I do not. I know what I smell like. It's not hot cocoa. So that was probably one of the funnier things that happened. People are great. And just like everybody has said, so I won't take any more time. Thank you.
Next we have Aaron Peck coming up. I reached out on our Discord server, which is kind of like the cool group chat that I just found out about, so we'll see me on there a lot. But
Are you gonna share from yours?
I can if you want.
Okay.
so he's a really cool action photographer, and he's gonna show us some great photos that he took recently. And
Thank you. Yeah, this was my first NSP. It was my first time. It was really exciting. It's nice to see everyone. We were kind of doing our own little thing in a little valley, which was nice. But I set up on Sunday. I took some photos. I spent the first 2 nights taking photos, and then I just give you the idea of remoteness. As we all know remote, but I'm like, oh, there's competition. 4 photos taken at NSP, and I'm like, oh, I'll print one out, and I'll enter the competition. And I had to drive 2.5 hours to North Platte with my wife driving while I'm processing the images in the car on the way to North Platte. But I drove 2.5 hours to get this photo printed, and I entered in the competition 2.5 hours back, and I lost, which is fine. But I will show you that photo. Oh, all right. So this target is a Pelican Nebula. If you're familiar with the sky, some of you are, some of you aren't. I'm not. I rely on the computer. But the Pelican Nebula is in Cygnus, and it's just off of Deneb, so kind of the tail end of the Swan. So cloudy gases off the tail end of the Swan. I'll let you imagine that. But there's 2 nebulas there. There's the North American Nebula, which is the bigger one. And I was working on that for a while back here at home, and it went weird. So I decided I wasn't going to work on that at all. I worked on the partnership with the Pelican Nebula. And I did about 6 hours of capture. The nice part about NSP for an astrophotographer, of course, it's dark. You can set everything up and then just leave it up and you sleep, and it just keeps doing things. So I got 6 hours in the last 2 nights, and it was really kind of a fun image. You've got the neb kind of what would be, I guess, up, and the rest of the image. It's not bad news though. I did win 2nd place in the deep sky competition. So I'm going to show that one too.
Oh, yeah, don't let that fall. I'm just concerned.
Oh, there he is. This one was not taken
There it is. This one was not taken at NSP, but it was taken at Astro Park. So even closer. But this was taken last year in kind of the height of the pandemic. We really, my wife and I went out to Astro Park so many times because it's the only thing you can do when you're not allowed to go into anywhere, talk to anyone, or be around anybody. This one was at Astro Park last year. It was about 2 hours. This is the Lagoon Nebula. But I'm really proud of that. I'm really happy I got second place, and I'm excited to share.
Unshare.
Stafford, you said you were maybe having something?
This is probably not going to be the most astronomical of tales here, but the one thing that always stands out each year that we do go up there is how dark it is. There's only, we've been to a few different places around the world. New Zealand has one area that's a dark sky reserve. And it is black at night. Hawaii, which the Buchanans are familiar with, if you go to their visitor center, it's black. And so is Valentine. So each time you go up there, you compare that to what you see around here most of the time, and it's really not much of a comparison at all. The kind of unusual thing this year for me was I was interviewed by the World Herald and came back on Monday morning and found out that, yes, they actually covered us. And I guess some of what I told this reporter got sort of condensed in one paragraph of the World Herald, and it was sort of discombobulated, but not really too badly. And it made a comment. He said it was like opening up your Ferrari on the Autobahn, which was partially true, but I was trying to describe to him a book that I have about building big telescopes. One of the authors of the book was the manufacturer of mine. And in this book, he says, when you build a big telescope, you need to get it to a dark sky because you have a high-performance scope, which is like a high-performance sports car. In dark skies, you open it up on the Autobahn. That sort of didn't get in there. And that had some interesting discussions on why mine was named an obsession. And the story behind that was the manufacturer built one similar to mine. And it was his first one, but his wife complained to him, you have an obsession going in the garage. So out of spite, he had the bearing arms cast with obsession on the side. Then he started getting orders for this telescope, and the guy who did this had the mold for it, and so that's where the name came in. So for the first time, I'm a child of the medium, I guess. And that's about it.
Who's she at? She's not her.
Sonali's right there.
She's hiding from me.
She's little.
I think you had a little poem to share with us, maybe? Yes. Okay, we would love to hear it, please. I've been to NSP just a few years, and every year is just amazing. Wonderful people, the skies are gorgeous. I'm sure you've heard that already. I go with all these plans. I have my telescope, I have my camera, I have a list of things I want to see. And as soon as I see the sky, I just sit there and look at the sky and look at the sky. And to me, that in itself is just fulfillment. So my lists just get turned around every year, and one gets thrown in the trash and new one gets made the next year. And the same thing happens. So Monday night, I was too tired to set up a scope. I enjoyed what I enjoyed, just look at the sky, talk to people, and look through their scopes. Tuesday night, we went tubing. I was too exhausted again, so I did the same thing. Wednesday looked cloudy, and everyone's like, "You're really going to set up your scope?" I said, "Yeah, I haven't done it for 2 nights." And that to me was the most beautiful night ever. I used my scope, and of course, then I went looking for other people's scopes. But just a sense of awe when you look at the Milky Way,
that takes your breath away. It's worth the trip just to get a glance at the Milky Way and what you see there. Even if you do nothing else, just take a chair, a pair of binoculars, I took a glass of wine. And you sit under the stars, and then you walk around and talk to all the people there who are friendly, welcoming, and it's a wonderful thing to do. If you've never been there, you've got to go there at least once. I just have a couple of pictures. This is my shot of the Milky Way. It's just a single exposure of 20 seconds. And that's.
Hang on, let me share the screen so that it can be seen. Okay.
And this is what I'm in awe of, pretty much. I think if this was what I saw, I know I would never get any work done. There's also lots to do around Merit during the day.
It's not like, could you point out to the new people what you do?
So that's Jupiter. This was Saturn, and this is, I think it's just a plane. Sometimes there are meteors in the shot, but I didn't see any of this particular one. But you can see a few campsites. Those are the red lights, and that's somebody's truck and a tent. I don't know who that was. And the other picture is I stay at the Merit Trading Post cabins, and I like that because in the morning you can go and watch the sunset if you don't sleep at night. And this was just a random picture on the beach over there.
And that's near the cabins.
That's near the cabins. And for the poem that I wrote, it's titled Nebraska Star Party. Look up and behold a sky like no other, bottle one and then some more. Stars, planets, galaxies, and comets, meteors and the Milky Way, span the expanse, a splendid display. Summer skies and friendly folks gather under the celestial sphere, along the Niobrara, among the sandhills, at Merritt Reservoir annually. The Nebraska Star Party, an enchanting journey. Thank you.
So I'm gonna substitute myself out, so I'll say something about possible future speakers. Did we have anyone else that may have been interested? Do I have a chance? Do I have time? Do I have time?
You got time.
I got time. The gal in the yellow shirt in the back, the lady. All right, come on up. And I saw someone else raise their hand. No, okay.
This is just going to be a little viewing observation that I had, and it was Wednesday night. Actually, Wednesday was not going to be a good night for viewing, but all of a sudden it just cleared, and we had a fairly good night for viewing. But also it was a good night. I think that several of us saw a lot of the comets, the shower that was going on. Meteors, sorry. So John Johnson went ahead and set up his binoculars real quick. So we were doing a little bit of observing, and I think, John, we were looking at the coat hanger. And the coolest thing, as I was viewing the coat hanger, is I saw one of the meteors go through my view. And that was such an awesome sight to see that through the binoculars. Brandon, you can see it great, but boy, when it goes across that binocular lens, that was awesome. That was good.
Anyone else? Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Just gonna regale you quickly about this NSP. We decided to invite my sister-in-law who lives in Oklahoma to come with us. She's 73, and so she came with us. One of the fun things about Nebraska Star Party is sharing it with other people, friends, family. So that was nice. We stayed in a cabin for the first time. Never done that before. We usually tent camp. If we look back on this NSP, we think, oh yeah, that's the one where nature tried to kill us. I remember that. There was Friday night where we were literally chased out by lightning, and we happened to have our telescopes up on a hill. So we were on top. We were My husband had a radio antenna. That was basically a lightning rod. But the day before that was Thursday. We went on the river. We had a great time floating the Niobrara, except for the last 30 minutes. Kind of got cloudy and then we heard thunder. We thought, we're almost done. We'll just stay on the river. And then it rained and then it hailed. Dime and nickel sized hail. Fortunately, we all had hats on that protected our heads. And thank goodness my husband had the presence of mind to take the cooler tube and put it over all of us. So that's my that's my idea from this NSP. The cooler tube might save your life on the river if nature decides to try to kill you. But yep, we all came back alive.
Were you scooping the hail from the river?
All of our tubes back to the river.
Thank you for sharing your stories of the Star Party this year, everyone. Hopefully we have even more stories for next year. And I see the slide for this.
Oh, yes, sorry.
So I've already been thinking of some potential future programs / speakers that we can bring into the meetings here. And I passed around something, I don't know where it's at, a little clipboard that says please pass this around. I saw that many of you had already written down ideas. So that's either you're volunteering yourself, you're volunteering someone you know that they don't know what's going to happen to them and they're just going to come in one day and we're going to say speak. Or if you have ideas or topics that you want to hear about. I know I was talking to Steve Skinner over there about some ideas that he was interested in as well. But some of the possible future speakers that I know or I've been wanting to reach out to as well. There's a gentleman by the name of Robert. Oh, back up just a little bit. Okay, I had this up here because I wanted to see if these topics and these people would be interesting for you. So if it is, you can just like nod your head. If it is not, you can just stay silent and I'll get the gist of it. So Robert Weiss, he came up to the Star Party this year. I forget where he's from.
Missouri. I mean, that's
Missouri.
the closest town you can go down.
Okay. So he's down from Missouri. He came up with his wife and his wonderful kids this year, and they all kind of had a party with a bunch of other kids around us and told scary stories all night. But he kind of is I want to say, observatory, telescope, mechanic, IT specialist. He helps manage an observatory. I think it's out of Phoenix. I can't remember where he said that. I got so many locations are coming into my head, but he does this for this observatory that basically has memberships for people where they can pay a certain amount of money per month to have time on that telescope. So astronomers, whether you be professional, semi-professional, amateur, beginner, you can pay to have time on this telescope, tell it where to go. You get to get that observing time, and he kind of helps keep that running. So I thought it'd be really interesting to bring him in and kind of have him talk about his experience with that, as well as that observatory itself. Just in case some of you may be interested in, working with a larger scope if you can't get your telescope out there. So there's that. Miss Kaylee Basega, am I saying that right? Basega, little 12-year-old little spitfire of a kid. She was also at the Star Party. Her parents are amazing people. They have some really great scopes as well. She was also part of that kid group that was telling stories. She will never stop talking because she just loves astronomy and just loves asking me questions. But she has a lot of knowledge for a kid. And working with kids, they bring a lot of great energy in, and she's really interested in astronomical paradoxes. Paradoxi? Paradox, plural. Whatever the term is for a plural paradox, but she had a few that she was bringing up to me that she would love to talk about, and to have them come in through Zoom, same for Robert, depending on internet and everything, to have her come in and talk a little bit about that paradox for just a different topic in astronomy, not always about the stars, but maybe just how things interact. So there's that. I just found out about this gal, Dr. Ada Rhodes Short. She's actually a robotics professor at UNO. Through a friend of a friend, I found out that she has a background in mechanical engineering. She's been working for the past 10 years at a lab at Texas A&M, basically creating robotic brains. So she does a lot of robotic and AI technology. And the super cool thing is she helped create some things for the infamous droid you may know as BB-8. Ooh, come on, you guys are Star Trek people? Oh, I am too, but Star Wars, come on. Okay, well, BB-8, so she has that background. So she's been working a lot with robotics. She does a lot of astronomical things as well. AI, like I said, intelligence, and she's local. And she's a professor at UNL. We do a lot of things at UNL, so that's pretty cool. It's
Remind them that they're supposed to be doing this.
yeah, whatever, you can raise your hand, give me a thumbs up, or just, or you can boo. I can take it. No, okay.
That's a Star Wars quote. No.
There's also Dr. Vladimir Strelnitsky. He, for me, is a absolutely wonderful mentor. He is kind of a late bloomer in the astrophysics realm, but he was the director of astronomy and the observatory at the Mariah Mitchell Observatory on Nantucket Island, just off the coast of Massachusetts. I had volunteered there for a number of years, did an internship. His work with rebuilding the program there, doing outreach with people, giving talks, and kind of talking about Mariah Mitchell, who was a female astronomer back in the 1800s and what she did. He had a big influence on me and astronomy and hundreds of interns throughout the years, but his experiences in building outreach programs and just in the whole astronomy realm, I think would be really interesting to hear from him. So there's that. Many of you know Brett Bowler from the Prairie Astronomy Club / Branched Oak Observatory. He and a few other gentlemen worked on building up the Branched Oak Observatory. There's another similar story to this too. Another gentleman out in Iowa that had built his own, kind of remodeled his house to include an observatory, but I think it'd be interesting to get maybe Brett in here and that group from the observatory out there to talk about how did you build something like that out in the country, get all that together, and then maybe how can we take those ideas and put them out at AstroPark or put them out someplace else or bring more of that to our area here. So there's that. I'll skip the next one. There's a gal named Connie O'Brien. She's also from UNL. If you have ever heard of Aim for the Stars. Yes, okay. Most amazing summer science camps I have ever heard of, right here at UNL, right here in Omaha. She's been the director of that program for a long time. I took those things when I was a kid. They had a huge influence on me, but it's working with kids, it's outreach. Again, it's local, but if we, I think it'd just be really cool to hear from her of what they've been doing to build up and change their programs, and maybe tie that in with Dr. Ada Rhodes, something like that. Also at Creighton, there's a physics professor that has some astroparticle physics experience. So still dealing with astronomy, but kind of working on the minutia level of everything that we see. He's local, so Dr. Duda there. I know we have with Jack Dunn, he knows a lot of people in the planetarium realm. So there's the Inialoa Astronomy Center and Planetarium, which is based on the Big Island of Hawaii. If I can reach out to them, I have some connections there, and it'd be really cool to talk to maybe some of them there of, again, working with different, just people from around the world, what their experiences are in astronomy, topics they can share. And then if you have other ideas, would like to volunteer, if you have topics, I know I talked to Nina, I will talk to John and a few other people here, but that's all I have for that. And if you can pass that clipboard around for me, I would really appreciate it. You can come talk to me afterwards, but looking forward to getting some good programs going. So questions, no questions?
Thank you, Georgie. Fantastic. All right, so the next thing we have is the business meeting, so let's break for 10 minutes, so well, 8:30 we'll come back.
Yeah. Okay.
Where's the clipboard? Oh, she's got it? Okay. You got one more thing?
Yes, I can say it from here. So, there's actually Steve's dinner a little bit, and I didn't know about this because I haven't been checking with Stella. But he had mentioned that, he has a lot of questions. How does this work? What does this mean? What is this instruction? He will go and look it up himself. And he's been writing some articles, I guess, placed in the Stella that are called the Go-To Chronicle, which are really interesting. I can't wait to go read those. Some of that may help answer some of your own questions about astronomical terms and occurrences. I would highly recommend going to look at those. And I hope you'll continue to write them. That's all I have. Thank you.
Sorry, I forgot to do that. Thank you, Mike. Vice President. Not present. Old business. The Youth Program Coordinator Chair. Let's revisit that this fall. That's what it says, fall 2021. It's still summer, getting close. Now, that's a good question. Are we meteorological or astronomical on the seasons? Astronomical on the seasons. Just a reminder that we do have a door prize that we're giving out at the Alcon virtual conference. And that gets to be next Friday night. Our time slot is 8:15 Central Time. So I have to like put some slides together and do like a presentation. So, and then I will get the person's name and then I'll charge it to my card and turn the receipt into Mike. That's next Friday. Yeah, it's all virtual. Yep. They've got their own platform. It was free registration. So if you want to go and watch it online, you're more than welcome to. Okay, this could potentially be a lot of discussion. September meeting. Some things are afoot with UNO that we may be back. However, it is limited to the number of people who can be in the school. The number I heard was 50 individuals. And we would probably have to do an RSVP ticket system to get people in, so we're not turning people away at the door. Yes.
This is a backup in case that doesn't follow through. It's always a backup.
Yep, and I have that right there. Yes.
What is the typical attendance in the past at UNO when you're meeting in person?
Good question. I went through all the 2019 minutes and we were anywhere from 48 to 65. And if you think about not everybody may come back. I mean, it might be a very gradual going back in. We may not hit 50, right? What do we have tonight? Like 38 to 40?
But we have lots of new.
We do have lots of new people, yes. Which is what's kind of nice about this space out here. It's very open. They have offered it very generously to us to use. Maybe we should just entertain that.
You can always explore options.
I think that if we make the decision now, it'll be in the Stella. Because UNO will still be an unknown, it's still being worked on. Krista's working on a lot of paperwork for it to try to get us back in, so.
That might be another reason to do it here in September, to get some more time to pay for it.
Yes.
And we could just start in October.
And we don't know what the numbers are gonna be from the county perspective. If they're gonna continue to increase, and they may change their mind at the school versus it being available. So, yes, Nina.
If we continue to meet here, I believe we need to offer an honorary to do like free.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I would agree with that. Sure. So,
It's a lot of work to set up and have it really up.
yeah, oh, definitely.
Although, you know, our meetings are going to be a lot more local.
We're not having picnics every Friday. Yes.
Well, can I ask a question? Do we pay for anybody
No. However, what that is the planetarium sponsors us to use the room. So it's not really a hard cost. Goodwill, shaking hands, things like that. One of the weird things with Kristen, one of her classes is she's got a class of 85 students and there's only 80 seats in the planetarium. So how do you socially distance in the planetarium? That's one of those weird things that they're now having to deal with this year. The room has been renovated to be fully remote learning. So the equipment would be a bit better, and I'm sure that they would allow us to use it. We're actually using UNO's Zoom right now. So I think that we should just go ahead and we should do it here. Just because by the time that the Stella comes out, there's not enough time to let people know. For September. And then work on October as we're getting into the fall. And just a reminder, the October meeting is elections. So keep that in mind. Don't worry, I'll run again. Yes, Kim. Uh-huh.
It's technically open to everyone. If we hold it here, it's actually easier to be open to everyone.
That's true. Yeah. I don't mind that component of it. If Jordan and Julie are, okay, they're shaking their heads, yes. Oh. Yes, new car. No, as a 501c3, you know, we have to engage with the public, and there may be guests of OAS rather than just members. So we would have to work on that as well. Okay, thumbs up. All right. Like an amphitheater?
Yeah.
Bring your stadium seating?
We're not gonna run out of room here.
No. No, we do not. This is like an interesting curio of an event, right? So I think we should probably have it here next month. Your motion for Nina. Complete. Keeping it in the family. All those in favor of having a meeting here next month, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Hooray, thank you. Motion carries. It'll be the first Friday of the month of September. Yes, that is the 3rd. Do not move it to the 4th because I will be driving across the state. it would be tough. So yes, the 3rd of September, right there. I have to do some administrivia here. Hang on. Is there any other items? I'm sure everybody wants to get out and observe. Yes, sir. Be the same, gather at 7, start at 7:30. Is there question on the? Oh, yeah, okay, normal time. I would probably personally come out early and help set up. Because I want a different setup than my quick one right here. Right, it would be just the meeting. Anything else? Jordan?
I will say if for any meetings that we do have out here, in case that it is a clear night, you're more than welcome to stay after the meeting. Welcome to serve. You end up falling asleep on the grass. But just in case, you know, someone becomes interested because it's on a Friday night. We're welcome to serve.
Okay, thank you. This reminds me of the times where it used to be UNO and said, we're gonna go up on the roof tonight. I haven't heard that in a while. Does anybody have anything else? Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Tom? Bill seconds. Tom Wilson. Bill Bond. The motion has been made and seconded to adjourn the business meeting. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Hooray. Thank you. Let me